Good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, shoot. Whoops. Good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Journey to Greatness. It's actually day 162 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Not in the 161. We did 161 yesterday. 162 with David McDonald, the GOAT. Welcome back. What a day. Alrighty, let's get to this. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. I will see you guys on the other side. Excuse me. All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Good morning, Yasmin. How's it going? Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Auntie. How's it going? Good morning. You guys, yesterday was crazy. Like, we went from 5 a.m. until 10 p.m. last night. Like, that's how hard we went yesterday. And today, I have something very, 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 very special in store to show you. So just be on the lookout later this afternoon, but it's going to be phenomenal. And it's even what's even more crazy is the team I'm assembling. I'm assembling a very, very dynamic team, and it's just looking nice. It's looking real nice right now for DMD. Okay, so so much more to come, man. I'm telling you, I have this philosophy that if you're loyal, if you're a loyal person, and that's really in any capacity, like to me, that when the tide rises, that all the boats rise with the tide, and it's been a beautiful process of elimination because naturally people respond and people do things a certain way, and one way to it's just interesting because people respond do things a certain way, so it's like just being loyal and just being like a like a like coming from a place of love. For me, I just feel like my natural instinct is to be like, all right, when that time comes, boom, 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 you know. So anyway, it's just only time will tell. So let's get to our reading routine. I'm actually wrapping up, or some of us are actually wrapping up, or maybe have some of you guys, probably read faster than I do. Wrapping up Think and Grow Rich. We only have 11 pages left, and we are done with our fourth book, over 1,000 pages in literature. So incredible. So I will see you guys on the other side. Boom. There we go. Wow. Dang. That's interesting. Alrighty, my friends, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. So we just finished our reading routine. Now we're going to get into our journaling routine. And let's see here. Oh no, lost another wing. So in our journaling routine, I like to start off by writing about what I'm most grateful for in the morning, and that is being in exceptional health or having exceptional health and waking up. And then I reflect back on yesterday's activities and yesterday's success, and I find my gratitude in that. I write about that, and then I write about what I wish to manifest for myself today, and a number of other things moving forward. So it's really a good opportunity to check in with yourself and to start writing down some of your goals and your imaginative thoughts so that you're able to manifest into reality and have something to go back and refer to when you become, when reality catches up with the person that you know you are today. So with that, I will see you guys on the other side. And if you need help with it in terms of how to write in the journal, just let me know and we'll talk about it after the session. With you. All right. Genius. Absolutely genius. That's genius. Okay. There are so many moving pieces and moving parts around us at all times. So it's our responsibility to find time to be still. When we're still, we're able to really listen to our internal selves. We're able to really listen to the energy that is flowing through us. And when we listen and we are able to respond, then a lot of good things can come from that. This is probably my second day after 106, it's actually 162 days today. So I need to change that number. But this is my second day where now imaginative ideas, the creator, I have this pen. I can sell this pen to you in very, very different ways. I can open up a storefront and I can have these pens in a pack of 5 that I get from the manufacturer and sell them for $1.99. I can open up the pen, buy my own custom paper, put it on eBay, YouTube, or OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace, and sell the pen that way in its own custom box. In that custom box, it also comes with a keychain, and along with a motivation card. And when you buy this pen and you send it back to me, then I'll send you a voucher for your next pen that you buy, discount. So those are 2 ways I can sell this pen to you, and there's a lot of different other ways. But our minds may only think this is one way, this is 2 ways. A creator mind thinks there's one way, there's 2 ways, and there's an infinite amount of other ways to create. So when you stop and you listen to yourself and you team up with the right people, first you have to listen to yourself because it starts with you. But then when you start creating and you start manifesting and intentionally drawing people to you, then your whole life changes. And so this is the first time since yesterday or earlier last week to today where I've thought about something and it has inspired me to create more, which is I think a really big deal, because there's a difference, like having foresight or being able to, I'm trying to explain it in words. For me to think about the best way to sell this pen to you, the best way, not the common way, but the best way, takes time for you to dig inside and figure out and use your imagination how you can execute it. And then you have to go out and execute it. Then you have to go out and find the resources. Then you have to go out and figure out how you're going to present it, to the world to sell this pen. And so when you find that time for peace, no matter what you're doing, that inspiration comes from deep within. And that's why they say creators never die, ever die. No matter what happens, they never die because they're constantly creating. They have these ideas for infinite space because they've taken the time to tap into themselves. That itself can take years. That itself takes time and patience and balance. So amen to that. So we're talking about the 6 fears and how they can pretty much functionally disrupt your whole entire reality. And the one that we're on right now is the fear of death. The fear of death. Actually, no, we're not on the fear of death. We finished that yesterday, I think. Oh, yeah, I know we are. We are in fear of death. Yeah, we finished that yesterday. Yesterday we finished the fear of death, and pretty much with these 6 fears, what I've been trying to suggest, or what I've been not really encouraging, but trying to provide another angle to look at them, is to help redefine what it means to die, or what it means to lose the love of someone, which is one of the other main fears, right? Or what it means to look at poverty. And the fear of death, I think, well, I said this earlier this week when we first went over all of the fears in one sitting. Death is not a scary thing, or at least it shouldn't be. Yes, our religious books tell us that if you do bad things, then more likely, depending on how you accept, a certain God or live your life throughout the time, will determine whether or not you go to hell or heaven. Okay, so that's pretty standard across the board. But what the book is suggesting is in the same breath, some of these books that we've read and these stories that have been passed through mouths and translated through minds to people along the way, is that eternity is a long time. Fire is a terrible thing. Of course, if you put your hand in a fire and all your skin melts off, that's a really bad thing, right? The thought of eternal punishment with fire not only causes man to fear death, it often causes him to lose his reason. It destroys interest in life. It makes happiness impossible. Insane asylums are filled with men and women who have gone mad because of the fear of death. This fear is useless. Death will come no matter what anyone may think about it. Accept it as a necessity and pass the thought out of your mind. It must be a necessity, or it would not come at all. Perhaps it is not as bad as it has been pictured. So fear of death is just really, I think, is also translated into the fear of the unknown. Like, we know, but do we really know? And there's so many stories, and religious teachings, like certain different types of Christianity. One Christianity says that if you accept the gospel of Christ, you will be forgiven of your sins. And then there's like another form along the line that says, you have to, the way you live your life will determine, how you go to heaven or hell. So it's like the same exact book that we're talking about for teachings, but the interpretations are different. And so it's an interesting conversation. But at the end of the day, don't fear death. It's going to happen to everyone. And at the end of the day, it's like, yes, it sucks. And to lose someone who's very precious and very, everything, even if it was like me, like coming from one of my children. I don't have any children yet, but when I do have my 4 children, it's like, even if it came to one of them, we can't tell the higher power or God what to do. So if there's something that's happening, right, we take responsibility for it. Now, I'm talking about in our own personal realities. If we live a hard life right now, it's because we're manifesting that for ourselves. If we live a great life right now, that's because we're manifesting it for ourselves. So that's a reality check. You got to look back at yourself for that. But if something like a child or a sibling or a family member is taken, or a friend is taken away from you, that's not necessarily a point of which where you look back at yourself and say, oh, well, how did I manifest this? That's not it. But you can't question God's work. It is what it is. And so to be fearful of death, I agree. It's a useless energy and a useless thought to even consider. It's going to happen. And when it does, embrace it. And at the end of the day, check this out. I got this guy. I once interviewed a man on this next page. I once interviewed a man who was to be electrocuted 2 hours later. The condemned man was at the calmest of some 8 men who were in the death cell with him. His calmness prompted me to ask him how it felt to know that he was going into eternity in a short while. With a smile of confidence on his face, he said, It feels fine. Just think, brother, my troubles will be over soon. I have had nothing but trouble all my life. It has been hardship to get food and clothing. Soon I will not need these things. I have felt fine ever since I learned for certain that I must die. I made up my mind then to accept my good fate in good spirit, or my fate in good spirit. So, again, death is made seem like it's a bad thing, but at the end of the day, I think if reconsidered, it's not really anything to be fearful of. It's just kind of like trusting the process. It kind of goes back to the same concepts also that you'll never fail. If you put your heart and mind, your soul into everything that you do, and you are legitimately grinding at it, you will never fail. You may have perceived failures along the way, like, oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed that. But if you really hang in there and you really fight for your goal, you'll achieve it. And that's the same thing. And you can't question the process on that. It will work. No matter what happens, because even those trials and tribulations that you work through, they're building you to be an even bigger powerhouse, for attaining your goal. Because that's the thing. And I'm just kind of freestyling off my mind right now because this is what's coming to me. But when you go through these challenges, it may seem it may be like perceived failure, but you want this big ass goal. Excuse me. You want this big goal, and this big goal requires you to be a certain person. You have to be a certain person. So if you are not one who makes amends with other people, that goal may require you to make amends with other people. If you're not somebody who's trustworthy or tells the truth all the time, this goal may require you to be that person. And until you can meet that expectation or that person, or meet that expectation and grow into that person, you may or may not achieve that goal. Because you have to change in order to reach a higher level. So, it's not a matter of, oh, I want that goal, right? No, you got to work toward it. You got to put in the work. And when you put in the work, you start to change everything about yourself. And then when you change everything about yourself, all the pieces on the puzzle start to move. And when those pieces start to align perfectly, then you go through these negative experiences, you go through these trials and tribulations, then you grow from these experiences, you grow from these challenges, you grow from these trials and tribulations, and then you take the step up to achieving that goal. That doesn't even mean that you're there yet. And that's very, very important, I think. So, anyways, jump back into the book. Eliminate the fear of old age by reaching a decision to accept it, not as a handicap, but as a great blessing, which carries with it wisdom, self-control, and understanding not known to youth, which is crazy, absolutely remarkable, I should say, because if you look at 3, 4, 5 days ago, I was talking about, wow, I can't wait to get old, because this one is the fear of old man, becoming an old man or becoming an old woman. Like, to be old, quote unquote, doesn't mean that your body's breaking down, because you get to call that into reality for yourself. But to be a little bit older, you get to have that wisdom and you get to learn and you get to give that back to people so you can see other people be successful on their journey. And that's exactly what this book just said. And that's crazy. So it's the truth. Bam. Stamp of credibility. Master the fear of loss of love by reaching a decision to get along without love, if that is necessary. If you love yourself unconditionally, if you lose the love of somebody else, this is nuts, because we just talked about this before we even read this chapter 3, 4, 5 days ago. If you love yourself unconditionally and somebody changes up and they start not to love you, that's fine. Let's send them love back and forgiveness, non-judgment, and then be on your way. So don't fear not being loved by anyone, because at the end of the day, people's opinions of you don't really matter if it's anything negative anyways. And if it's something positive, then use that as encouragement and confidence to build yourself up. So let me see. Kill the habit of worry in all forms by reaching a general blanket decision that nothing which life has to offer is worth the price of worry. With this decision will come poise peace of mind and calmness of thought, which will bring happiness, the only thing that we really are searching for in this life. A man whose mind is filled with fear not only destroys his chances of intelligent action, but he transmits these destructive vibrations to the minds of all who come in contact with him and destroys also their chances. Ooh, don't want to be around that person. Even a dog or a horse knows when its master lacks courage. Moreover, a dog or a horse will pick up the vibrations of fear thrown off by its master and behave accordingly. Lower down the line of intelligence of the animal kingdom, one finds this same capacity to pick up the vibrations of fear. A honeybee immediately senses fear in the mind of a person for reasons unknown. A bee will sting the person whose mind is releasing vibrations of fear much more readily than it will the person whose mind registers no fear. Shoot, the bee would be stinging me because I'll be running away from them. They're like this big, but I do not like bees. But I guess I'm not. I mean that, but that makes sense. The whole point of that makes sense. When you give off of a confidence, the stuff I think what he's alluding to here, the author, is you're self-conscious. If you're a pathological liar, people are gonna pick up and like, ooh, I don't really want to be around that person. If you're a really mean person, there's a really strong chance that people will pick up and they're subconscious. They won't even know. They're just like, there's something about that guy. I'm not really vibing with him too much. And for better or for worse, you know, there's some people like, oh, I'm really vibing with that guy. That guy's on my energetic level or my energy wavelength. People pick up on that. And so that shaping that and becoming one with that comes from you spending the time to get to know yourself. The better and the more in depth you dig into yourself, the stronger your subconscious energy that you're exuding comes to light. So all these fears that we're talking about, we have just went through and knocked down all of the fears the main fears that potentially exist within us. And we've provided alternative perspective to those fears. And now you just live your life on those alternative perspectives. And then naturally, your subconscious starts to exude an energy of a fearless personality. And that's with anything that you do, whether it comes to money. And that's why they say know your worth before society knows your worth. Society may not see how great you really are within, but you only know how great you are. And so you're just waiting for the right stage to make the announcement. And so when that stage comes for you to make that announcement, everybody in the world will know you are the greatest of all time. And that's what we're building. That's what we build within us. And that's why we can't allow for society to define how far we can jump. And that's why they say you got to be careful who you hang out with, because the people you hang out with will either put a lid on top of your jumping span, or there is no lid and then you can jump as high as you want. And when you're starting to come back down, they put a trampoline under your feet and push you back up 10 times higher than you were jumping, to begin with. And that's what all the cliche statements of be careful who you hang out with. It's really kind of like bringing all these pieces together. The vibrations of fear pass from one mind to another just as quickly, as surely as the sound of the human voice passes from the broadcasting station to a receiving set of a radio, and by the self-same medium. Mental telepathy is a reality. So being able to communicate mentally with people when they're not in front of you is a reality. And the book suggests that if you can't mentally comprehend that idea or that thought right now, or that's something that you're like, wait, what? No way. That's okay. It just may not be your time to understand, or may not be your time to invite that into your reality space, which is totally cool. Thoughts pass from one mind to another voluntarily, whether or not this fact is recognized by either the person releasing the thoughts or person who picks up the thoughts. The person who gives expression by word of mouth to negative or destructive thoughts is practically certain to experience the results of those words in the form of destructive kickback. Holy shoot. That is crazy. I mean, I got to stop saying crazy. That is remarkable. The person who gives... Okay. Sorry, I got to ask. Liz, you got to second me on this, man. I think a week ago, we talked about judgment and people being like haters. Okay. When you wish bad upon someone, so, okay, living a life of concentrated love where you are always concentrated on no judgment. So not judging people for the acts that they do, the acts that they commit, whether good or bad. And just loving unconditionally, even if that means you got to love from a distance. Okay. So, the biggest benefit and the cliche statement that most people say is the reason why you do that is because you get what you put out. So when you put out love, guess what you get back? Love. And then guess what happens? Your circle naturally changes. So you don't have all these negative naysayers all around you. Push them out. But love them, obviously. Push them out with love. Lovingly push them out. So lovingly push out the haters. Lovingly push out these people around you. And, obviously wish them well and let them go. But what this book just said, and then we talked about this last week before even reading this chapter or this page, is when you give out a destructive and negative kickback. So if you're throwing out hate and you're throwing out shade, the number one thing that's going to come back to you is that same hate and that same shade. And what's even more interesting is what's more destructive about that idea is this. Everybody on this planet has a remarkable power about themselves. When you take the time to get to know who you are, you start to create. So that idea in the book, in a lot of the religious books, that there's a good and a bad type of thing, there are good and bad people on this earth. Even though I believe in humanity and I believe that all people, truest, come from a place of love, whether they realize it or not. And so love will always conquer all because that is what we are stemmed from, love and emotion. Emotional balance, I should say. So the idea here, though, is for a person who is sending out hate, just even by thinking it, don't know how powerful they are. And the people who do know how powerful they are really casting spells out here. And so as conscious people or people who are woke, like you and me, everyone out there, right? The people who are taking the time to know and understand how these vibrations work, they are able to counterbalance these ideas and they are able to sense them and pick them up very quickly. So if somebody is throwing a certain energy at you, you could pick it up and respond where it comes through your auto suggestion box, which is what we've been talking about this whole book, pretty much second half of the book. It comes through your auto suggestion box, you pick it up and then boom, you react to it with love and non-judgment, push away or bring in close. And so the vibrations from one person's mind is when you send out negative energy and you're like, just nasty energy, you're going to get that back. And that's what's beautiful about the world, because the individual person who you're sending that energy to doesn't have to do anything at all except for focus on what they're doing. The universe and God and everybody else is going to throw that back at you at one point or another. So you just got to keep it, you got to just keep it pushing and really love from a place of love, or act or live from a place of love. And so my last thought here before we conclude. So my last thought here before we conclude is the release of destructive impulses alone without the aid. The release of destructive thought impulses alone without the aid of words produces a kickback in more ways than one. First of all, and perhaps most important to be remembered, the person, oh man, beat him up, Napoleon. This is it right here. We're coming in for home base. We're sliding in head first. Important to be remembered, the person who releases thought of a destructive nature must suffer the damage through the breaking down of the faculty of creative imagination. Secondly, the presence in the mind of any destructive emotion develops a negative personality which repels people, pushes people away from you, and often converts them into antagonists. The third source of damage to the person who entertains or releases negative thoughts lies in this significant fact. These thought impulses are not only damaging to others, but they embed themselves in the subconscious mind of the person releasing them and therefore become a part of their character. That's deep. Your business in life is presumably to achieve success. And this is the kick. This is the hallmark of everything this book talks about, in my opinion. This is the statement right here that makes life worth living. Your business in life, presumably to achieve success. Your business in life is presumably to achieve success. To be successful, you must find peace of mind, acquire material needs of life, and above all, attain happiness. All of these evidences of success begin in the form of thought impulses. So that statement right there is the hallmark. And to finish, you may control your mind, your own mind. You have the power to feed it whatever thought impulses you choose. With this privilege goes also the responsibility of using it constructively, bad versus good. You are the master of your own earthly destiny, just as surely as you have the power to control your thoughts. You may influence, direct, and eventually control your environment, making your life what you want it to be, or you may neglect to exercise the privilege which is yours to make your life to order, thus casting yourself upon a broad sea of circumstance where you will be tossed hither and yon like a chip on the waves of the ocean. Take control of your life or become a circumstance. Whether you choose to accept it or not, it's totally up to you. Totally up to us. And that's it. I think that paragraph is very powerful words. And we get to choose how involved we want to be in the process of living this earthly experience. And that's what makes life so beautiful. You can literally have, and this is the whole point of this whole journey, is to allow us to step into our greatness to a very large capacity. We can achieve anything that we put our minds to. Yes, that's so cliche to say, but now I'm cutting that cliche statement open. We're opening it up and we're saying, okay, what are the tools that we need in order to make that cliche statement an actual reality? And it's journaling, it's reading books and expanding our mindset, and planting ideas and concepts and energy into our bodies and our spirits, and journaling, making a journal book of our destiny, of our journey, and just having a cadence of accountability with community, everybody who's here today. It's 6:20, man. I'm fired up. 6:20. We haven't even done anything yet except this great stuff. All right, I'm gonna let everybody go. Thank you. I hope that we're coming to the end of this book. So we only have like 6 pages left, so we should be done by tomorrow, or maybe by Thursday. I hope that this message today is one of inspiration, and one of encouragement, and one of support. I hope that you're able to receive the messages that the book is sharing through me, and that you are able to take something away from it. For everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much. What book are you reading? Oh, we're reading Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you go to our Journey to Greatness page, that's the most recent book, or the most current book is there. So Napoleon Hill. But everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning, thank you for letting me know that you're here with me. Thank you for showing up today. I hope that everybody today has the greatest day of their lives. And I'm internally grateful for this community that we're building. I'm eternally grateful for the cadence of accountability that a lot of you have shown me, checking in with me, making sure I'm doing okay, and, sending me kind energies of love and embrace. Thank you. Because that's, I'm not doing it for that, but it just feels cool to see how this thing is evolving. And I love you guys. So like I said, have the best day of your life today. And the way that you do that is by making up your mind right now that today is going to be the best day. And you know why you can do that every day? Because every day is a new day for you to have the best day of your life. And by the end, if you look at compound effect, by the end of it, you're going to wake up and be the most chipper person on the block. You're going to be skipping down the road at 5 a.m. in the morning because it's going to compact every day. And it's not a better, necessarily a better day. I need to have a better day, a more productive day. No. Happiness is the fruit of life. And happiness is not attained necessarily. It's not the material happiness. It's the spiritual and personal gratitude you have for yourself and the people that are around you. And that's the best day of your life. If I can get that and achieve material things and make a lot of money and impact people, right, for whatever that's worth, that's a really successful day. But you get to choose what that looks like for you. So with that, I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.